proceeds of the fuel loan for debris taken in from Helene.
Motion is seconded by Steve Brown. Any questions? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you, guys. Number 14 is a motion to approve a check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $3,509.90 to the Cleveland Fire Department for services rendered for Carter County Incident Management Team deployment resulting from the Tennessee statewide impacts from Hurricane Helene.
Avery Nguyen on the second. Request to speak by Aaron Fraser.
Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yes, they came up here for our EOC, and they're a smaller community. So, they couldn't very well send somebody for free. So a lot of them came for free. This is one that, they're small, so they couldn't.
The fire department may be small, but I can absolutely assure you that this community of Cleveland is not small.
Maybe they're stingy with their funds.
That's an understatement.
Anybody else?
Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Yes. All right, let's move on to number 15. It's a motion to approve the request in the amount of $1,250 for services provided in February and a purchase order in the amount of $1,250 for services to be provided in March to Starlink for service lines at 5 locations. Those invoices to be paid from the Helene Disaster Expense Line.
Seconded by Aaron Fraser.
Any questions?
Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. All right, number 16. Since we have transitioned from state of emergency into us handling these expenses, it's like the second meeting, so we need to stay ahead of the game. Highway Department has the new paver. They're getting ready to rock and roll, we hope, literally, all these rocks. This motion is to approve purchase orders for the Highway Department. Hopefully, 3 weeks, my bad. So that they will have this rock ready, and if the weather breaks, they will be able to start working on our roads.
Motion seconded by Tom Smith. Call for the vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Thank you, guys. All right, number 17, form a motion to approve a purchase order from the Helene Disaster Expense Line for the Highway Department in the amount of $240,188 to Hinkle Environmental Services LLC for road repairs for Bluegrass Road sites 1, 2, and 3 and Bear Branch Road. This is going off of a quote, and we did not have to bid it because it is a state contract.
Motion seconded by Nancy Brown.
Any questions, comments? All right.
Please vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Thank you. Number 18, form a motion to approve a purchase order to Schaus LLC from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $300,000 for ongoing consulting services. And this is the PO.
Seconded by Leslie Hughes.
Questions?
Let's vote. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Should it not be clarified, these are coming out of HIL funds, are they not?
I hope so. No, they're not.
Okay. HIL,
And I'll tell you more about that on the next motion.
okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Quinn, will you repeat that?
I told him, I can let you know now. All these administration fees for Shouse LLC is a Cat Z. It's admin fees. They are 100% return through FEMA. And so that's what we're gonna come out on the next one. So,
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Anything else? Let's vote.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
she does. All right, number 19, motion to approve a check request in the amount of $103,064.04 for Shouse LLC billing for December 21st of 24 through January 17th of 2025. The prior purchase order for this vendor had been fully expensed, requiring a check request for this invoice.
Motion is seconded by Avery Nguyen. Request to speak by Angie Odom.
I was just curious, do we have anything like a per diem that you usually work for, like where certain limitations of what we stay? Because when you look at all of the receipts, I mean, we have the Carnegie and the Hampton Inn. Do we not have anything for the county that limits what you pay?
These are off of a state contract, so they get state pricing. And all of this, that's why I sent you guys out the contract, so you can look at it in black and white. There's no question. We agreed to it. Contractually, they broke it down for us. And all of it, it's IRS standards, state standards, normal. The questionable part that someone brought up in budget was the fact that it was over a weekend, that we still paid for them to stay. Well, that employee of Shouse is from Florida. So really, when you look at it, to drive to Florida one day and back, just seemed somewhat ridiculous. I wouldn't want to do it. Somebody even mentioned Florida. You're still looking 2 days. I mean, you're looking some travel time there. And so that's what that was about. But I did put that in there for that reason, so you can see that we're under contract.
I had one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we got the contract in October, I mean, we were all still shell shocked with everything. And when I read the contract, when I think of a senior project manager, even rereading the contract, which I have been doing, you think of a senior person as one person, and then you have other people working under you, is how I look at that when I read the contract. But now it is true, looking at this bill, I mean, it's only from December the 21st to January 17th. So in that, you still have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's, you've got holidays and weekends. I mean, we have, aside from the young lady we meet and we see here at the meetings, which I understand, I considered her the senior project manager because she's the spokesman, she's the person that's here and works. But then you've got different other people. There's another man here, Bruce, that has $22,440 made in less than 1 month. That's more than what our individuals in our county make in a year. I'm concerned because there's 4 seniors working on this in the future.
You're looking project managers, having been out with these guys on the ground and even for in the DOC. Sonia's handling major paperwork. What we need to do to get it back from FEMA. And Bruce, he's over to Bruce. Michael, he's also over to Bruce. It is a big undertaking. When you're looking the kind of contractors that we are seeing coming in here by the boatloads, they're here to get paid, they're here to work, and, they want to do good, they want to get paid too. I don't see how, I really and truthfully, after I've seen everything that they have to do, I don't see how they keep up with it. We took all 24 commissioners and set us in a room and gave us each a job. I guarantee, from what I've seen out of this bunch, we could not keep up. We wouldn't even know where to start. I'm good with paperwork, but I swear to you, there is absolutely no way. We did, and some of you may disagree, we sat in here in that October meeting and we were all devastated. We saw our neighbors, we saw our families, we saw our friends. and didn't even know where to start because the damage was so bad and so widespread. It was great to have somebody that came with such high references. I was excited to see what they could do, I'll be honest, because Rome Mountain was a mess. Hampton was a mess, and we have come such a long way. I mean, if y'all don't believe that, drive through Rome Mountain. Drive down those streets that took such a hard hit in the village. Shell Creek, I mean, they were, Jason's, they were worse than us. But we're making progress, the ball is rolling, and it's rolling faster now at this point. So that's just what I've seen, and, seeing what they've done. So you can make 2 cents worth and throw it away, whatever you want to do. We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yes, we have Avery Quinn to speak.
We reckon there's something wrong. As a senior project, it's kind of like dividing up a major manufacturing plant. You have one person over the entire group. You may have 4 or 5 different sections. You each have a senior person to take care of that particular job.
That would be my
Right.
understanding of that. Ms. Long, is that correct?
That is correct. We have a project manager that is handling $28 million worth of road damage. We have a project manager that's handling $8 million worth of debris. So same debris project manager handling the waterway debris, communication with TEMA that took us 77 days. Asked TEMA to take that expense, so we didn't have to, as a county, absorb that cost. We have an NRCS specialist. We have a building specialist. We have a lot of specialists. And I do realize that I left my rate the same as the senior. And if I need to add an additional rate for a subject matter expert on the next one, I'll be happy to do that for you. But my rate is staying the same, and I am managing your entire disaster.
Avery, do you yield? Donnie Cable.
I just want to say that if you have a question for Schultz, I would suggest you go sit down and talk to Sonia. Me and her sat down and talked for 2 hours. She explained a lot of things to me. That was a question. I have no more questions after I sat and talked to her. If the public wants to talk to her, you're welcome, and she will talk to you. She don't hide. She has been corresponding with me for 2 weeks. If I send her a text, she answers my text in 2 minutes. Go to the source. Yes, but go to the source. She will tell you. I've been in emergency management for 20 years with the U.S. Forest Service. And a team, I was one of those subject matter experts on Region 18 out of Atlanta. I know what a subject matter expert goes through. You need to go talk to her. She will sit down and talk to you. Are you aware?
And just bear in mind, if we all line up to go talk to her, might want to make it short. She's a busy woman.
Todd Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to bring up something that came up in budget that one of the commissioners made a comment. And at the time, I think we were all kind of taken in shock by the way the question was phrased, but it was, how many of us here saw that we would have 4 project managers out in the field? Did any of you all believe that? And personally, I was sitting there shocked. Well, I want to ask you a separate question. How many of you all actually thought you were going to have 1 project manager out in the field the whole time that could handle this job?
Anyone else? Let's vote.
Will Campbell,
Yes.
Hazelwood, Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Guys, do you want to do one more and then let her take a break? It's been an hour. I said, do you want to do one more and then take a break? It's been an hour.
The order to. Okay.
On 20, motion to approve a purchase order to Staples from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $1,054.06 for additional office equipment for disaster-related operations. That's a desktop computer, a surge protector, filing cabinet, paper, and printer. And this is for planning, because they have so much to keep up with us.
Okay, seconded by Leslie Hughes. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Cliff Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, number 21, form of a motion to approve a check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $1,000 for Old Sons Excavation for Helene flood cleanup for the sheriff's office.
Motion is seconded by Aaron Frazier. Seeing no discussion request, let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Cliff Hazelwood, Gary Stout,
Yes.
Number 22 is a motion to approve the check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $1,269.39 going to Mountain Electric Co-op in Mountain City for services provided from December 26th through January 21st.
Seconded by Nancy Brown. Let's vote. Sorry, Avery Nguyen has a last moment request. Go ahead, Avery.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Some comments made online about the half being so expensive. In order to put this trailer in, they had to run lines to it. Poles cost about $600 to $800 a piece. Plus the cable, plus the transformer if they had to hang one, plus the installation of the drop line to the temporary pole or trailer, whatever it is. That's why it's so expensive.
Anyone else? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Cliff Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Prophet, Gary Stout,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
It shows,
I know what you're going to say, the 300, you had a late fee on there. It's a previous charge, sorry, a previous charge.
Do we need to change the motion to the other amount, that 1393 then?
The other one was already paid, it just didn't show on their invoice.
Gotcha, okay.
Anybody else?
I guess the vote's already been revealed.
No. Yeah, I forgot late, Avery was so late, sorry. Okay, 23 is a motion to approve a purchase order from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $1,500 to Lowe's for estimated repair needs at the Poga Outpost trailer for the sheriff's office.
Seconded by Leslie Hughes. Any comments? Okay, let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Cliff Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, number 24 is a motion to approve a purchase order from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $4,500 to Mountain Electric Co-op for monthly services at the Poga Outpost trailer for the sheriff's office.
Seconded by Jason Clausen. Seeing no request, let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Cliff Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed.
So just to let y'all know, and I'm sorry I left it off my notes, that 4,500 in that purchase order is an estimated 3-month expense. So it's not just a bill for right now. Okay. Number 25, motion to approve a check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $7,740.90 to Sunbelt for LED road signs required for traffic control on damaged roads for November 18th through December the 15th.
Okay, motion is seconded by Aaron Frazier, request to speak by Angie Odom.
Has anyone looked into the cost overall? We've looked at other things. In the end, you pay out for $1 or you get 40% off. If we're gonna keep needing these road signs, and this is the amount, right here is, I mean, you're talking $27,000 just at this one meeting we're included. Has anybody checked on the cost? And that's what we were discussing.
I think at the time, when we did this, y'all had no signs available because of the widespread damage throughout the state. And so, you know, it was that or nothing. I mean, we didn't have a choice. I did put in a call today to see how much one was, and we were hoping that the state would pay for these, and they may still. But as of right now, we haven't heard anything back, so we're gonna go ahead and pay. It may be something that's a reimbursement back, which is what we hope for at best. So, you know, that's kind of where we are. You know, I wasn't crazy about the LED signage expense, but looking at truckers coming down the highway, they're not going to see a regular road sign. They can barely see the LEDs, big signs flashing.
We need them. I just didn't know if we looked into purchasing them instead of paying for leases.
Exactly. I can only imagine how much a sign would be. Do you have a clue?
Due to the damage right now, it's very hard to get these signs, and we've asked the state contract that has these signs if we can go through them. So we are working on the process.
Chair recognizes Todd Smith.
I was just gonna mention, it hadn't been that too many years back that EMA actually purchased the sign, so they may have a rough idea how much they pay for it from there.
Okay, and Aaron Frazier.
This is just a sidebar suggestion. I would recommend putting some instructions up in Spanish because many of the truckers that are coming through here do not speak English. That's,
Amen.
I see that often.
Just about all your.
I'm just saying,
I think that's true.
we got, I'm not saying we go and put it in German and Italian and anything else, but just perhaps Spanish might be a nice addition.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, Avery Nguyen.
Talking to some truckers, most of the nation, truck carriers that come through here do not speak English. They don't read it, and they don't understand it when you speak it to them. I don't know how they're driving on a road by CDL, because I have to get out and prove I can read, write, and see, just to get a regular driver's license. When you're pushing 80,000 pounds and you don't understand what the sign's telling you, you're gonna kill somebody.
Thank you all for your comments. I believe we're ready to go. Yes, I do call for the vote.
Billy Campbell.
Yes.
Bud Hazelbush.
Yes.
Gary Stout.
Yes.
Todd Smith.
I'm sorry. Yes. I just had someone send me a picture of one of those signs with the price, so I'm off on a try.
Okay, thank you. And now, if you would like, we can take a break.
Okay, that's fine. If y'all are okay with it.
Thank you. You may have a 10-minute break.
It doesn't matter, this is a bill.
How many trucks he's had coming up? He's had to get his phone out.
You just went.
They're on his, no charge. 22,000.
I know that's a lot.
Snow's supposed to get.
Not seen the evil eye? Missed that. His battery just got that call about water. But didn't know where she was, so I don't know. Just here on
There's like 4 people on there that just keep on happening, yeah.
She wasn't doing well on Friday, but we didn't lose any cars. No, Suzanne. Yeah, that was
Why you brought that up? I had to figure out my husband.
just like it just gave up. I think mine's been ready today.
Thomas tells me, he said, that made 45 minutes, I'll never get back. Jerry.
I said it's Thursday.
This probably is, you can get
You gotta jump on it, that's all.
Hey, a double whammy, I'm in.
That way you start off.
I gotta have subject matter expert. You've never done that. You have to you don't your brain surgery.
Most days well, I shouldn't have. But I know you have church on Sunday.
I can't fix it.
I would say all of them, but they didn't have pictures working out to see how much for that. Yeah, it's been like. It's like about it. This was me and Mama crazy, trying to get always add more money, but think of
Yeah, they got all the rockets, they know it.
that nice brand new couch that he's on. That cushion, behind, if you put down this cushion, there's a hole. Yay big.
You all right? You think that I can get it?
Sit down there. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. Good instantly now.
Let's please start making our way back.
I ain't in this box.
Okay, commissioners, let's go.
You're in my.
All right, let's go. Okay, one quick comment before Miss Julie take her again. The live stream has stopped 2 times tonight. Anthony's watching it, he gets it going every time it stops. We don't know. It could be the storm moving in. I don't know what it is, but it's not any person causing it. It's just something that keeps happening. We're sorry.
Please continue. Okay, everybody back? Okay. Number 26, put a motion to approve a check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $7,308. The Sunbelt for LED road signs required for traffic control on flood damaged roads for December 16th through January 12th. We have a second and number 8. If there's no questions, let's vote.
I just got one.
Yes,
This is
sir.
covering the road, the signs that are out on Gap Creek that are allowing people to run through there
We
and
have 3 invoices for Sunbelt.
There's 3 signs, one on Shell Creek, Heat Creek, and Hampton Creek.
thank you.
At the mouth of each creek, or each road to one road hazard.
Let's vote.
Bill Campbell,
Yes.
Bill Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm having some technical difficulties, so I vote yes.
Thank you, guys. Number 27 is a motion to approve a check request from the Helene Disaster Expense Line in the amount of $7,308 to Sunbelt for LED road signs required for traffic control on flood damaged roads from January 13th through February the 9th. Seconded by Aaron Frazier. Are there any comments or questions? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Lisa Childress,
Yes.
Bill Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay. All right, number 28 is a motion to approve a payment request from the HEAL Loan Fund 121 in the amount of $2,461,581.15 to TFR, which is our contracted debris crew, Enterprises for December debris removal due to the Helene flood disaster. Part of this invoice will be done by check request due to the remaining funds on the existing purchase order is not sufficient to cover the full amount of the invoice. Motion is seconded by Aaron Frazier, and Aaron, you may have the floor.
Just one question. Roughly how much debris did this cover?
I don't have that in front of me, but I'll happily get that for you off there.
Ballpark me, like million cubic feet or 500,000 cubic feet?
That's very hard because they were also hauling C&D and chipping and hauling chips and
Gotcha.
hauling vegetative, and I don't have that breakdown.
Don't worry about it.
I will get it to you though.
All right, anybody else? Vote.
Bill Campbell, Bill Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Thank you, guys. All right, number 29 is a motion to approve a purchase order from the HEAL Loan Fund 121 in the amount of $300,000 to Thompson Consulting Services for additional debris monitoring expenses. And as you all know, we have to have a debris monitor to keep up for FEMA, so we can get a refund back. Avery Wynn is the second. Any questions? All right, let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bill Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, number 30 is a motion to approve the animal shelter monetary restricted donations in the amount of $3,513.81. Second and Nancy Brown. Any comments, questions? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bill Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes.
These are easy ones. Okay, number 31 is a motion to approve the animal shelter non-monetary donations in the amount of $220. Second by Aaron Frazier. Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Number 32, all of these are to do with Land Works construction, for which we have a contract with. This 32 is motion to approve the check request in the amount of $572,479.84 to Land Works construction contractors for invoice 202-50013 for the installation and first month rental for Poga Road temporary bridge number 2. Motion seconded by Aaron Frazier. Aaron Frazier.
Yeah, just one point of clarification. These are the bridges that at the end of it, we're going to own, correct?
Yes.
So, and the other part of my question is did it come with a set of instructions on installing it, or are you guys gonna have to contract somebody to install it if it needs to go somewhere else?
We went. We probably can install. Yeah.
Okay.
Those have to be cut loose with a welder together.
Okay.
Be taken loose.
I can go with that just a little bit. With the engineering group that is working on Poggy 1 and Poggy 2 right now, they are going to go ahead and add an additional line item in there for when the contractor builds the new bridge for that area to actually remove that and help the highway place it. So we'll have a line item for it.
Chef's kiss.
All right, anybody else? Okay, vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed. All right, thank you, guys. Number 33 is a motion to approve the check request in the amount of $85,000 for invoice 202-50057 to Landworks Construction Contractors for change orders needed for Poga Road temporary bridge number 2. Now, this is for rock to shore up the bank, and the edging, so. Seconded by Aaron Frazier. Any questions? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. Number 34 is a motion to approve the check request in the amount of $280,779.84 for invoice 202-50563 to Landworks Construction Contractors for the installation and first month rental for Poga Bridge temporary bridge 1. Poga Road temporary bridge 1, sorry. Second by Leslie Hughes. Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys, you guys have been patient. We're down to the last one now. Number 35 is motion to approve the check request in the amount of $125,850 for invoice 202-50058 to Landworks Construction Partners for change orders needed for Poga Road temporary bridge. Seconded by Leslie Hughes. Are there any questions? Let's vote.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood,
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed. All right, believe it or not, we're done with budget.
Thank you,
guys.
Julie. Good job. I do want to say one thing. The temporary bridge situation, all the documentation has been submitted to FEMA. FEMA has obligated $1.4 million to cover those expenses. On line item, I think it was motion number 6 on the agenda, for you to sign the contract. That's because the money has left FEMA and is in the state of Tennessee. As soon as these invoices are paid, we can turn around and submit and have that money back. So it's about 30 to 45 day turnaround, but I thought you should understand the process of the money there.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question pertaining to that?
Yes.
So a lot of these are set out of the Helene disaster line, and Carolyn, you may need to chime in on this. So whenever it comes back in from the state, we're just going to be putting it back into those line items so we can spend it again later.
That is my understanding, Carolyn.
That is correct.
Okay, and of the projects that we're going to get reimbursed with, obviously, state, FEMA, whatever, it could be longer than the 30 to 45 days, but we're looking at the typical. How much do we have outstanding in the FEMA funds as of right now? Because the last time it was like 8 million. Is it continued, or like we've already got money at the state level that we're just waiting to invoice for?
Oh, okay, I understand that. The FEMA money that is obligated and is already back in the state of Tennessee, FEMA has obligated 10 million back so far.
To our county or to the area?
To Carter County specifically, we have received $10 million from FEMA that is on its way back. As soon as you sign the contract, we can start submitting invoices and pulling that down.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Financial Management Committee, Brad Johnson.
Madam Chair. Item B is in the financial, from the financial management. I place in the motion to have the county attorney contact Everbridge to negotiate the early termination of a contract signed but not approved by the county commission. Going in the back of our minutes from the financial management, the contract for Everbridge, that is our automatic digital contact for everybody in the county during a disaster. The EMA and the deputy EMA came before the financial management with a contract for a different contractor, dropping this one. So this month in financial management, we received the bill from Everbridge, which is supposed to be null and void or not reactivated. But it seems to be that it was signed by the EMA 2 months prior to bringing in the new one. Now we have both of them operating. So we asked the county attorney if he would contact Everbridge and negotiate the final of that contract.
Okay, that motion has been seconded by Julie Gwynn. Are there any questions? All right, let's vote.
Julie Campbell,
Yes.
Bud Hazelwood, Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I get into number 2, there's a couple of things I want you to notice, that this transfer of property is not a Tahoe. And it is not black and color. Well, no, not until next month. That won't change. But anyhow, attached to this, in the motion, the transfer of a Dodge Durango, gray in color, from the sheriff's office to the animal shelter, and the disposition of property from Sessions Court, which consists of a chair and a small table. Now, to elaborate a little bit more about the Dodge Durango, how this came about. It was reported and verified by our director of the animal shelter that all their vehicles were down with the exception of one, which is the, I won't say the column catcher's vehicle, but it was damaged in the flood and had been supposedly repaired. They still have a problem, but there were no vehicles remaining for the animal shelter to transport animals like Lincoln University, items like that. So in the meeting, the sheriff is with us tonight. He can elaborate when I finish. Made an offer to lend or reassign one of his patrol vehicles to the animal shelter for a week. Well, that's well and good. Worked out good. And by the time the next meeting rolled around, we found out that the vehicle would be reassigned to the animal shelter. He has readjusted all of his fleet because this vehicle that was donated to them or transferred to them was used for the purpose of transporting prisoners to and from courts, prisons, federal prisoners. It was high mileage, but it's still more than operational. It takes a special vehicle for the animal shelter to do the transport because of the size of the cages. Just a regular normal vehicle doesn't work at all. But out of the kindness of his heart, out of it, he transferred that vehicle permanently to the animal shelter, even though the boondoggle of the two whites and the one black also so much trouble. And still, it's not done yet. But I do place this in motion for your approval to transfer the Dodge Durango from the sheriff's office to the animal shelter.
Motion seconded by Lisa Childress. Any questions? Let's vote.
Campbell,
Yes, thank you.
Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes. Madam Chair, that's all I have. Unless some of y'all have questions. That's good.
Okay. I'd like to recognize the Chair of Health and Welfare, and you can come forward at this time. Nick Holder, District 1.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the EMA director job description as written. Without the black top, that's what.
Aaron Fraser has seconded that motion. Are there questions? Okay, let's vote.
Campbell,
Yes.
Hazelwood,
Yes.
Gary Stout,
Yes. Let's vote, Mr. Johnson. Vote on you.
You did say Mr. before that, didn't you?
I apologize, Mrs.
No, you don't.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair Holder. All right. Are there any other committee updates from any committee member or chairperson? Okay. And then we will go to item 17, which is the county attorney report.
Okay, as always, I've submitted a written report that'll be as part of the minutes. That detail all the items that I worked on throughout the month. Obviously, as always, I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have about any of that. As far as general litigation, the litter cases continue to be prosecuted each month. There's a hearing this past month. It's been an ongoing case for quite some time involving a significant amount of tires that were still working to be cleaned up. And there was an additional new case filed this month in Chancery Court as well. The one action item that I wanted to talk about was the contract for the promotion and development of tourism. As you all recall, the vote was not to renew the existing Chamber of Commerce tourism contract that was going to run out March 9th. And you all have voted to offer a one-year contract with no automatic renewals to the chamber. Last month, we talked about the fact that they had sent through their attorney a response requesting some changes. But since that time, they signed the proposal as is without any changes. So they accepted it just as you offered it. It's been executed by all the parties. The one I attached in your packets hadn't been signed by the Secretary of Board Attorney, but I got that back today. So if you all are in agreement to ratify that contract, it begins on March 9th. It spans for 1 year, and there is no automatic renewal. There is no notice provision of when it will terminate. It's simply a 1-year contract, just as you had instructed. So I would ask you just to simply vote again to ratify that contract, and then it can be executed by all the appropriate parties and provided to the chamber.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Nancy Brown, second by Avery Nguyen. To approve this contract. Does anyone have a question for Attorney Harden before we vote? Okay, let's vote.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Buzz Hazelwood.
Yes.
Jerry Stout,
Yes.
Motion passed.
The final thing I would do, although it is not a matter before this commission for any vote, I was provided last month with a petition by Mr. Byrd, which you all are aware of. My duty, under the request I was given, was to investigate and determine if there was reasonable cause to initiate an ouster proceeding. Mayor Woodby, I have completed that investigation. I have filed, well, not filed, but I have provided a written report detailing my reasoning, and that has been mailed to Mr. Byrd at the address he provided on his petition. The outcome of that is I do not find that there is reasonable cause to initiate an ouster proceeding. The reasoning for that is fully explained in the response. I wanted to send it to him. He's the complainant. I can provide it to you all tomorrow or later if you want it. Fine, but my duty was to respond to the complainant, so that's what I did. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, I'll answer them, but that's the end of anything I have for report. I will say there was some additional communication on the other threatened litigation this past month. If you all desire for me to discuss that with you all in executive session, I certainly will. And if, that's up to you all, if you want to vote on that or the chair wants to allow for that, we'll do that in the executive session at the conclusion of this meeting. If you all desire for that to happen. Otherwise, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Okay. So, Commission, I will leave that decision in your hands. If you want executive session after commissioner comments, please let me know right now. Somebody make that motion. Okay, then we are in a time of commissioner comments. Yes, Vice Chair Collins.
Mr. Martin, can you mail us that, email us, your response to her?
Yes, absolutely. I put that in the mail yesterday. Unfortunately, it was a federal holiday, so the mail didn't run. So I was trying to give him an opportunity to get it first.
Yes, Jerry Stout.
I'd just like to say, there's been a lot of discussion about our contractor shouts and some of the work they're doing for us and that sort of thing. Going back a few years, in my former life, I was working the West Tennessee tornadoes. And as a result of some of the damage done down there, those counties that hired contractors got a whole lot more FEMA reimbursement than those counties that did not. And the primary reason was given documentation. The lack of documentation on a lot of those counties that tried doing it by themselves. And as a result of that, they didn't get near as much reimbursement as they thought. So I think that speaks well for what we're trying to do here to get as much as we can back.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Jason Clausen.
A couple. One is about, I've been with the fire department. We've been working on trying to get some FEMA help from losing our department and all of our equipment. And our members have been back and forth. Do we hire someone? Do we not? Sat in with the meeting the other day, and there was at least 12 people on the Zoom call. And back and forth, just the most mind-blowing stuff that they would say. And I would say, well, how about this? no, that's not right. So well, I've been told sitting in the meetings here that you can do this. Oh, well, yeah, you can do that if you do this. I don't feel there's any way without someone representing us that we'll get back the money that we've already spent. Number two is I've been called out online by individuals, by commissioners about me selling side by side to the sheriff's department. And that I've sold a $25,000 machine for $45,000. I actually sold a $44,999 machine for $38,999 plus a signal light kit put on it. So a total of $40,099. I've also attached, and I've got copies of this for all the commissioners, my cost on that machine. My cost on that machine is $41,644. For one, I've done it for my community, for my county. That machine has been invaluable with Bogey. It's saved lives. It's still working every single day. We couldn't do without it in Bogey. Now, if it should have been bought out of the county because there's no one else in the county that sells ATVs, maybe it should have. I don't feel it should. I didn't vote for us to buy or spend this money. This was under a state of emergency. This was an emergency. I had the machines. I got them to them. So I just wanted that clarified. I do have copies of this for anybody that would like one.
Okay,
I
thank
yield.
you. Aaron Fraser.
Just kind of echoing what Jerry said, showers, they move quickly because they know exactly what they're doing. We have paid them to guide us through this crazy nuts process. In one of my trips to the EMA, I actually got to kind of not really corner, but talk to one of the FEMA folks that come in and help us out. And FEMA said they were in here before they were allowed to be in here because they knew it was going to be bad. FEMA is not, individuals that work for FEMA are great people. FEMA as an organization has a bajillion different rules that none of us individually have the time to go and gain the education to be able to go through it. Yeah, it's a lot of money from Shouse, but I mean, some of the estimates are around $120 million that this whole disaster is going to cost from one end to the other. And if you look at just standard project management fees, typically it's between 15 and 20%, depending. So their fees could potentially be as high as $18 million. And we knew that up front. We can't pay the $120 million, and we certainly can't pay the $18 million. Having something like this, having the HEAL loans coming in from the state, where we can float off the HEAL loans and rotate over into the funds that we get back from FEMA and continue that cycle as projects get done, is the only way that we're going to do it. Because the FEMA guys are the ones that set out this whole new thing that they do with the fast track funding to help us get money back in here so we can turn it around and then do the next set of projects. It's going to work like a revolving fund from one end to the other to try to get it finished. And without Shouse and without the individuals at FEMA saying, try this, let's talk about this, let's do this, trying stuff new is going to keep this county from ending up being bankrupt. Yeah, this is funding that comes from the federal government, which is all of our tax dollars. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is one of the few things that I think tax dollars should be used for. We can get in arguments about, I don't like the IRS, I don't think the IRS needs to be there, and I don't think the income tax needs to be there either. But public good in disasters where people cannot come forth and fix these things themselves, this has to be one of the uses. And please, reach out to Sonia, talk to her. She is an absolute savage, and her team know this stuff inside and out. I mean, the questions that we throw at her, she has the answers for them already. And it's not that she's having to dig through papers to find them. I throw her curveballs and ask her questions that I'm pretty sure she doesn't have the answer to, just to keep her on her toes. But we have to have this.
the number of people that we would have to hire and the number of people that we would have to train, and then have those people on staff for the future makes the county more top-heavy. Going out to a contract and going into the private sector for somebody that knows how to liaise between us and governmentese is invaluable. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Donnie Cable.
I would like to thank the Sheriff's Department for what they're doing and help Mills and Pokey and Landworks that put the temporary bridges in. You couldn't ask for a better contractor. We met with them, I was on the ground with them, Jason was. We was there when they did their work. We had no bridges. We had no way to cross Elk River in 2 places. This bridge company put these bridges in. We would have a way of transportation to get heavy equipment across, to get EMS across. So the money that was spent for the and access that we didn't have, that we have now. I would say that during all of this disaster, one thing that I noticed quickly was lack of communication. I was not contacted or notified of anything for 3 months by nobody. You can ask these two, neither were they. And it's in our district. No communications, no transparency. We got more transparency and communications out of the bridge company than we did this county. We survived, and we will continue to survive in Elk Mills and Pokey. We're still without a road. Route 21 is still broken. Be June before we get 1 lane open. Maybe. I have to drive to get to Elizabethton. I have to drive round trip, almost 60 miles one way. If you count it total, 120 miles round trip for me to come to Elizabethton and go back, because I have to go through Johnson County to get here. Someone said as a public comment that they pay us. Well, let me tell you, folks, I go in the hole every month. The $150 I get won't pay for my mileage. That's how much money I get out of this chair. That's all we get, folks. And if I come to another meeting, I don't get paid for it. Unless it's called meeting. I can't come to a budget meeting, or I can't come to a financial management meeting. If I do, I'm going in the hole anyway. That would just put me farther in the hole. But I'm a commissioner because of the community I live in. Jason's the same way I am. He drives the same distance. Todd lives in Hampton. He's a little more fortunate than we are. And I look at all of this, and last month I couldn't get here, but I was fortunate that I could watch it. I watched you run a Tahoe so far deep in a rat hole, I couldn't find it. For no reason, other than the paperwork originally wasn't followed. That's the problem. We don't follow regulation. We don't follow the paperwork to get the job done right the first time. It's frustrating, to tell you the truth of it. But between thanking the sheriff for what he's done and the highway department for what they do in Elk Mills and Pokey, it's beyond imaginable what they have done for us. EMS does their best. We have, on Thursday, we have a medical unit there. We have received all of this because of where we're at. It's appreciated. You don't know how much it's appreciated by our constituents in Elk Mills and Pokey. It is appreciated, whether you think it is or not. We're out there we're like the sheriff, we're an outpost. That's what we are. But we have, because of the volunteers, because of the fire department and the chief, and things that was done in that community when this thing happened, or we wouldn't be here. It wasn't the county. The heroes are not the county. The heroes are the people in that community and the volunteers that came there. On an average day, you can probably see 10 or 15 side-by-sides carrying supplies up and down the road. That's volunteers. Had nothing to do with anybody else. That's why we are appreciative of what we've got. And Jason was in Poland. I was in Elk Mills, so Todd was in Hampton. I wasn't there as much as I could be, because of family health situation. But I was told that's where I needed to be. Folks, you can throw off on this commission all you want. But we're here for our constituents. And sometimes we don't do what our constituents want us to do. Like 2 months ago, when 40 people here with the chamber, talking about the chamber and supporting the chamber, we still went against the wishes of the people in that issue. We're out there for the people. If you think I'm out there for the money, forget it. I'm having to write a check out of my pocket to be here at our meetings. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Avery Lynn.
I'd like to second what Donnie just said. I live in the South County, down Roan Mountain. It's 25 miles from my house to this courthouse. I come up here for 2 meetings a month as a minimum. Committee meetings, commission meeting. I do sometimes get up here for other meetings. Round trip, it's 50 miles. That's almost a quarter of the tank of gas for me. I mean, doesn't hardly pay for the gas, especially if I make more than just the 2 meetings that are required. But something else that I heard tonight, and I know is not true, is I heard that Unicoi County didn't hire a consultant, and Johnson County doesn't. Unicoi County is now hiring or has hired a consultant because they were not getting anything done. I read or heard on a news channel, I don't remember which one it was, I think it was one of the TV channels, where a contractor had worked over there for 3 weeks and wasn't going to get reimbursed. So I think we've done the right thing here by hiring a consulting firm, one that knows the ins and outs of the field. I know I can't do that. Things that I think should be covered are not going to be covered. But it's just one of those things that we don't know how to do. We hired somebody that does, we should let them do the job.
I'd just like to join on the train for the rest of it, except I have in question to my fellow commissioners and everyone else sitting in here, a sanity check. For number one, this region was hit with a disaster. It was more serious in one county than the other, but it still was under the disaster. If we had not taken the route that we did, and it was left up to this commission, here's the sanity check. What do you think you would be right now? Man, have to go armed. That's all it is to it. You'd be nowhere close. We are leaps and bounds above any other jurisdiction that's covered under the regional disaster. And the reason being is by the selection and the drive that this commission has for the common good, and it has worked out. Leave it to the pros. Johnson County is small. Unicoi County is too, and they're just finding that out. If you read the papers, you still see in Washington County Greene County and Unicoi County. They're in search of, if they have not already found it here recently, the same thing that we had the advantage of is by having the shouts come. They're finding out. Now, if you look at Miscellaneous 24, everything has been done today, who's going to do it? Sandy check. You better be glad for it. I yield. Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Todd Smith.
I'm going to kind of add on to what's been said. And I want to address a couple of things that I've heard and I've been told and also been accused of. Somehow, some way, the word gets about that we wasted money here, that FEMA would have helped us take care of this all of our own. If that was true, why did FEMA tell us to hire someone to oversee this? Why did FEMA tell the city manager? I've got a copy of the interview where FEMA told him if he wanted to get the most out of this as a city, he needs to hire a professional to do this. And when I say that we literally, when this first happened, and I know most of you that were directly affected was like me, I looked like a deer in headlights. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. But once we had things kind of organized, I know now who I can call and get something done with. And it's probably not what everybody's going to want to hear. But I'm at the point now where I've called Sonia and Bruce so many times, I think I'm going to have to put them on my Christmas card list. They have been extremely helpful to us. And it's hard to explain if you haven't been there with your boots on the ground and seeing how these people are working. And try to explain to the citizens that it's not as easy as it looks. Things don't happen in a heartbeat. If you think bureaucracy is slow, try serving in it. It's even slower. I yield.
Thank you. Julie Quinn.
Okay, I have a couple of things I'd like to deal with. One is last month, while we were in executive session with the room removed, just the commissioners here, what we were discussing was released onto social media before we ever got out of here. Yes. Okay, so that tells me that the person feeding this gossip group is sitting right here in this room on this floor. I have a problem with that. That is not okay. That's why we're in executive session, correct? That's why the room is removed. There are no cameras. The second thing that I noticed just this week, probably from the same person that fed that out, I requested the finance department put Shouse's contract and her invoice in there so that they could read in black and white. Guess what? It winds up on that same social media. And the only ones that had this was the people sitting on this floor. So who is feeding that information? Because you're getting real close to a conflict of interest and ethics violation. That is not okay. We are here to do the county's business. We're here to do it in a right fashion. And giving out information that's half truths and giving out their information on those copies without it being redacted, with nothing being redacted, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because her mother's phone number was on there, emails were on there. And we know by the finance department, don't mean to throw you under the bus, nobody did a public information request form. So guess what? We need to start watching each other. The next thing I'm going to say, and I'm probably going to piss y'all off. I know you're from Rome Mountain, I love y'all, but I'm telling you right now. After the flood, had Patty not been sitting in this position, we would have not gotten the help right off the bat that we had. When they made the call that those Blackhawks were coming in, we were already cut off by power lines and a mudslide at the Whiteway Grill. And you don't believe me, you talk to our firemen. You should know because you're part of the fire department. And what a feeling it was hear those Blackhawks thundering up the valley and know they were bringing water and generators and support for those generators. We already had people asking for things. We didn't have anything to give because we were cut off. And at that point, we'd already lost communications. White Rock Tower was down. There was very little anything coming through at all. Do me and the mayor agree a lot? No, we've been in some terrible rows on this floor and everybody wanted to move the desk so we could just duke it out. And we probably will again. But if you go back and you ask our firemen, if you ask Jason or Donnie or Claude or me, would you do something different? We all would have done something a little bit different. If you ask my firemen right now, they'll say, yeah, I'd do something a little different. We didn't do anything perfect, but we did not have any loss of life. We did the best we could do with what we had. And she was beneficial. I mean, take it for how you will, but she was beneficial in that moment. It helped get the stage set for the state of Tennessee, for Nashville to get the ball rolling so we could get supplies up here. So just wanted to give that to y'all. I know you probably won't like it, but you know, I do believe in giving some credit where some credit is due. And nobody did anything perfect. None of us did, but we did our best. I yield.
At the risk of bringing something up I was hoping not to, I was hoping to at some point to address this in a closed session. Since it's already been brought up.
Sorry.
I reached out last night to our attorney. I didn't expect him to answer me last night because it was a holiday, but thank you for doing that, Josh. I didn't expect it. And asked what the repercussions could be from someone in a closed session with counsel to leak information disclosed in that meeting. What could be some of the possible results? And if Josh, if you want to address it, great. If not, if you don't mind, I'll read what you wrote in your email.
That's fine.
I'm not fast on email. And my question was exactly what I just stated. What are the repercussions from this? It depends on what they do with the information and intent in doing so. It could potentially be a conflict of interest, of official misconduct. Of course, this would have to be proven by clear and convincing evidence in a court of law to result in personal liability, criminal conviction, or ouster from office, but all outcomes would be possible. And I say that because I want to, whoever it is, when we get down to the nitty-gritty of this, subpoenas work two ways. We can be subpoenaed. We also can subpoena to find out where that came from if the time ever arose. Because that bothered me, because that stepped the bounds that had no place to be overstepped. It showed distrust in us. It showed distrust in our community. It showed distrust in our process. And it was downright disgusting in my eyes. I yield.
Thank you, Donnie Cagle.
I just want to add to what Julie said. We were cut off from everything with Foggy and Elk Mills. Today, we have no phone service. We have Starlink. That's it. We have no ground phones. We have Ride Speed's not helping. Skyland Skybest is not helping. We're all on Skylink. The church where I minister bought Skylink and installed them. I installed them in people's yard, so they would have a way to communicate. We don't have it. If you want any kind of service, you might wait 3-4 days, 5 days to get service from anybody you need service from. But Julie's right. Rome Mountain was cut off. Elk Mills and Pogie was cut off. We're still having issues. Maybe one of these days, we don't have a highway back. Maybe one of these days, we'll have phone service. But don't look for it anytime soon. Oh, you.
Now that we've come up with some of the stuff that's going on, coming out from within the commission. The demand letter from the lawyer. Very day that I got it, the first one, which was 16 January. Somebody sent it to them because it was not sent to the public. Also, getting back to being cut off, we were cut off on Roan Mountain by the road for almost 8 hours before the water got low enough to go back through. And it was that mudslide up there. For 2 days, I was able to come down to Farmers Exchange to get signal off the hill there. And those batteries went dead. I had to come all the way into town to try to get signal. Couldn't hardly find signal in town. So there's absolutely, if you get cut off down there, we almost had a catastrophe this weekend. On Sunday, we were without power for 4 hours in Burbank. If the power pole had fallen, the trees had fallen and taken the power lines down a mile west or south, I'm south, so a mile north of where it came down, we would not been able to get the ambulance service in there because Dark Hollow Road is washed out. So, you know, I know things take time and I know there's red tape and everything, but that's something we've got to look at. Others in worse shape than will, but we still got that problem down there too. Internet service is in and out. I may or may not get somebody's emails or phone call. It doesn't work that way. I think we need to address the leak.
What makes a body is different opinions. And just like we're all singing praises of one way, but that doesn't mean we all see it the same way. We're allowed to have different opinions of how it is, and I pray it goes that direction. As far as when we're looking at big deals or big invoices or how much it's costing. That we all can look at it differently or see it. That's what makes a body different, is seeing that. So in questioning things, we're allowed to question things. So as a body, the body unanimously feels, well, almost seems that this company is that way, and I'm gonna pray it goes that way. And if it don't, then I'm wrong. But if it doesn't, just remember this moment that I'm saying I have large reservations, not based upon their performance here or their kindness or their not or their bills, based upon speaking to other counties and other representatives of how things was handled. But I pray I'm wrong because we need the money and we need the help. So I hope I'm wrong on that note. The other thing that I wanted to mention, it has been a lot of help through the community. And we have a lot to thank also from people outside the area. All these other states that have come in, and took time off work and rebuilt these houses or cleaned up the debris. And then all these things that they were here, boots on the ground immediately. And the other thing is, we all are under pressure. I had to go file a police report because my husband was being followed. Because they were saying that someone was plotting something here at the commission. And I went and filed a police report. I got the description of the truck and the person. They were plotting something on this commission. And it wasn't followed once, it was followed twice. It happened in the city. And my name, of course, was mentioned with him about the plot. I called the attorney and I told him. Because I direct a crisis pregnancy center, we fall out underneath the reproductive health center, which is a crisis pregnancy center. So I also had to let the FBI agent know that was being followed and what was said either way from elected or through the Senate. So don't think for 1 minute, just because you're a person that speaks out, I know what's confidential and I know what's not, so no, I know that wouldn't apply of anything that was mentioned here, but there was something where it wouldn't have happened. But I just want you to know, I will always voice the truth of what is allowed to be said. I will always voice the truth, even if I stand alone. I will. But it really bothered me knowing that if they follow my husband or they follow my kids. But you know, God's protected me for 25 years in what I've done and stood for other things, and I know He'll continue to. So we all, when you stand for anything, it can happen to you too. So don't think it won't. Bye.
Okay, seeing no more requests to speak. Okay, Willie.
So, you know, I appreciate everybody who took a part in this. It's all different people, not people. County coming together, doing the job. I've been with the highway department 46 years, and I've never seen a flood like this. Never seen anything like this. Shannon sent me to Green Olive. I'm saying this is a, praise to God. I met up with a young man and he was girl with him. She had a puppy in her hand. They didn't have anything to eat. I had something in the truck and we gave it to her. She said, do you have anything for my dog? Her daddy showed her, said he's dead. She went into the house. He said, I haven't told her the puppy's dead yet. You know, it's sad. You go and you see things like this, it breaks your heart. I can't imagine, what those people are going through. I'm not stood in their feet, shoes. But I can say this as a preacher. I still pray for these people. I still sit on my bed at night. I still pray for them. Not only them, but the ones that are going through another flood in Virginia, Kentucky. We need to pray. We need to humble ourselves. Start getting back to the old paths and walk therein. Sometimes we think we get a little higher than what we are. I'm nothing without God. I give all the glory and praise to Him. These people that come and they express their own opinions or whatever. But, everybody's got an opinion. But, I love this county. Raised, born in this county. Love the people. Like I say, calm ourselves a little bit more than we are. I believe we'd be a lot better.
Aaron Frazier.
Just one thing to tack on to what Willie said. The Bible's very clear. It's not about what you put into your mouth. It's not what corrupts you. It's what comes out. And it goes for things, spreading rumors, being a gossip, any of that stuff. If you don't have the facts of the situation, go ask, find out. I swear, if my phone rings, I will answer. I do dig and I do find out and I do due diligence when I'm making a decision or whatever it is. But just spouting rumors about people and what you think they're doing, if you ain't got pictures and you just don't have all the details, you don't have the facts, you don't try to find them. If they don't exist, move on. Okay.
Dr. Thomas.
Just to follow up with what he just said, I just contacted a good friend of mine who's on the Unicoi County Commission, and they do not have a consultant. So just to clarify that, since that was said earlier.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second by Aaron Frazier. All in favor, please go.